Why the heck would Corvair Wild be making a video of a Ford 4-cylinder Focus engine? I'll give you a hint. It should be plastic. It shouldn't be in the back of this Volkswagen. The Volkswagen Synchro. Running a Ford Focus 4-cylinder. Just a 1-inch stainless steel adapter. Yep. A few wiring modifications that are well beyond me. Doesn't have the high up intake though. For fording through streams. Yep. It's a Ford Focus 4-cylinder. And a VW Synchro. Cool. That is so cool. And these rear brakes you said are a pain to change?
Yeah, they're just drums and they're old and they get full of mud when I go four-wheeling, so I don't like to mess with them. I like to make the mechanic do it. What he told me, he said, you need to get a Land Rover, is what he told me. He said, you need to stop doing that to your van.
So, the exhaust, I guess, is the Focus exhaust shortened up substantially?
Substantially. Because the exhaust system on the old engine, because it was a flat 4, was of course, you know, two-header is a huge pain in the butt. At some point or another in the past, someone paid like almost $2,000. They used to be almost $2,000 for the whole system from the Volkswagen dealership. So in 1998, I worked for a place called the Bus Depot. It still exists. It's an internet parts place for Volkswagens, and they were able to find the kit. I think they were the first ones that found most of the whole exhaust system. You can get it for like $400 or $500. Still think that's crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Putting this engine in kind of just gets rid of a bunch of the silly little things that you'd have.
Problem
to deal with.
solved.
Yeah. And then now, since these are old enough, a lot of people only drive them during the summer. But I personally like to drive it all the time because it's actually the best car I've ever driven in the summer.
I agree. I agree. Engine weight in the back, just like a Corvair. All you got to do is get one from California and then spray fluid film on it to rust proof it like I do. This one's too far gone. It's rusted.
Yep. Well, and sadly enough, you'd be amazed how many of these you see driving around are rustier than this.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
But the other thing is this last winter killed it pretty bad. But if you look at most of the subframe and the suspension parts are decent. They're not
Pro comp. Yeah, yeah. The too bad you can't take the body.
The front suspension is heavily modified. It's got limiting straps because it has custom-made Bilstein coilovers.
Oh yeah. Adjustable too. I see that.
There's a guy in California who makes those.
So where's the drive shaft?
Between those two.
Oh, there it is.
Boards.
Yep, with
And
a
that's actually
big
not
ass.
original. That's not original either. I got that from a place in California that makes slip yokes for it. Because the old ones are hard to rebuild and no one ever gets them right.
So the one just changed the whole drive shaft for a, one using a Chevy Blazer part or something.
Yep, it's got spicer joints. It's all just, you know, anybody who could make a drive shaft could fix that.
Rusted.
Because I had this weird rubber donut.
Leave it to the Germans.
Yeah, well, the Mercedes had them too, I guess, apparently. So.
Yeah, well, that's no better.
Well, that's the thing. It's like the only people who knew how to fix them were like Mercedes mechanics. So.
Yeah, and they don't use hammers. Mercedes mechanics don't use hammers. Everything has to fit together perfectly.
But you'd be surprised. I haven't done it for about 2 years, but I get out a wire brush and I get a spray can of silver paint and I just cover up all the rusty spots. And from about like standing over on that porch, it looks pretty good.
Good from far, a little bit.
What I mean? Like you don't see, it doesn't pop as much or whatever.
Yeah, a little duct tape, a little gray paint.
Yeah.
Oh, the spare tires in the front.
Yeah.
That's an old, boy, I know what kind of tire that is in the front. I've seen those before.
Yeah, that's the original.
That's a Michelin X.
Michelin X.
Yep. Boy, it's been a long
Take it out,
time.
it's not checked. There's nothing wrong with it. It's got full tread on it.
Little
Just
release
hangs out
button.
under there out of the sun, basically.
Yep.
And now I have 2 spares, and since I have a decoupler, which is something they put on the front of the transmission, they didn't sell that in the United States. They only sold it in Europe. I can use a vacuum knob to take it out of all-wheel drive, so I can take it in and out of all-wheel drive.
Oh, because it was supposed to be permanent all-wheel drive?
All-wheel drive. So if you see these 2 little knobs, they're both vacuum actuated. And there's supposed to be a little console up here that has like little lights and stuff that go on when you're in and out of stuff, but it wasn't in the vehicle when I got it because these silly gauges were there. I have one to put in, I just haven't done it yet. But it's funny because when I was in California and they put my new transmission in, they're like, well, how do you know when your locker's on? How do you know when you're in 4-wheel drive? It's like, you can tell. You know what I mean? You can immediately feel the vehicle.
Yeah,
like
you feel it
tighten up,
pulling.
you know?
Sure.
And the interior from this vehicle, that was a weird thing the guy did. So if you close the door, you can still open the glove box.
Huh.
Because they only had one of these on this side.
Oh, so you put one on this side.
This interior
and
with the
it hits
gray
that.
stripy stuff is from a Blue Star, which is what they made it for 1 year with the rear-facing seats and the table that folds out and stuff. I've seen one of those rear-facing seats on eBay go for over $300. Got the whole interior from Texas from a friend of mine for $125.
Westphalia Werk, Reda Wiedenbroek, West Germany. Interesting. I got guys in Germany watch my videos. They're going to tell me more about this than you and I know put together.
Oh, I know. You know, so actually, surprisingly, like I am reasonably knowledgeable. It's just I've been kind of off duty for the last.
Until you go to a Volkswagen show and all the experts know everything, and then you feel real stupid. You keep your mouth shut.
I used to know more, having worked at the Volkswagen Depot and having owned several different years of vans, but I decided a couple of years ago that my brain just doesn't have enough room for all that garbage. I like fixing it, I like driving it, but I don't need to know everything about it.
Yeah, it also goes down the road.
So, well, that's the thing. I know a lot of people who spend more time talking about their vehicles than driving them. I actually drive this. Like, I've driven it to California and back. I've drove it to Kentucky. The idea was I was driving to Belize. But when I started having cooling problems, I decided to stop.
What's the fuel mileage economy? What do you get?
If I drive like a grandma, I can get over 20 miles to the gallon.
Right,
if
'cause
I
you're
drive
pushing a
like a
brick.
crazy person, I get about 14 to 15.
What was it with the Volkswagen motor?
About 17, 16.
What's the cubic capacity or the cc's of this?
I think this is 21.
2.1 liter. What was the Volkswagen?
I think it was 2.
Huh.
Although, I like the old motor. Lots of people complained it wasn't powerful enough. I kind of liked it, you know. You don't want that. This is a van. It's not a freaking sports car.
Yeah, it's like I have a Corvair ramp side pickup. I'm just building it dead stock. I'm going to put air conditioning on it and just tootle around.
And I'll tell you what, for all the modifications I've done to this thing, when I bought this stock with 14-inch wheels on it, the best modification I did was I took Passat rims. You drill out the center holes so they fit.
The hub. How'd you drill the center hole? You have to weld it shut first to drill it. That's hard.
Nope. They have a little lip on them.
Yep.
And the hole saw fits perfectly over it, so it guides it.
Oh, it guides it because I had that problem on my Hyundai. I put cord rims on it. I had to grind out the rims of the grinder. It took me an hour each rim. It was hard.
Well, so the hole saw fit perfectly
on the
over
lip. The lip retains otherwise it just walks around. You got to weld a little piece of steel over the top to act as a guide, and the drill bit breaks.
So I did a set of them myself.
Perfect.
I had the first set machined by someone professionally.
Which is big bucks.
And that cost too much. And then I met a guy in the Bronx who was a van nutty guy too. I met him one day when I ran out of gas in the middle of the road.
Lucky day.
And he was a pretty nice guy. And he orders parts from Europe. I have stainless steel straps to hold the gas tank up for this, so they don't, because the old ones were of course rusted.
Everything rusts. Yeah.
And he's the guy. It's funny. With the day that I went to buy them online, I was like, what was his name? I haven't talked to him in about 2 years because I don't live in New York anymore. But I was like, oh, hey, it's you. You know, like I was buying them, and like I didn't realize.
Yeah, we realized all of a sudden. Wait a second. So where do these air lockers? What do they act on?
The vacuum from the engine.
But where's the actuator? Is it on the axles or?
Well, the actuator for the.
Hang on, I'm coming.
For the actuator for the they call it a decoupler.
Yeah.
Which should be up. Is it on this? Is it on this side or is it on that side?
The Volkswagen Synchro guys think it's over there. It's over there.
Yeah, it's right here. Right here where my hand is. See here?
The blue thing.
Yeah, it's blue and black.
Oh yeah.
You know, they're only like $100 a piece.
But what was on here stock, or it was
stock? It was just a regular nose cone.
Oh, so this is a specially made nose cone.
This is a nose cone. They made it and sold it in Europe, but people started buying them and bringing them over here. And then now someone in the U.S. I think makes them. I think this is an actual one, but it doesn't matter. They're both the same. I got this.
You got your ground straps in place. That's good.
Yeah. Well, like you said, this is a user. It's not super pretty, but I'd drive her just about anywhere.
Going down the road. So this reinforcement here, this big.
It doesn't reinforce anything. It's like the crappiest skid plating you've ever seen. It's supposed to protect the drive shaft, but if you hit a rock with it, it just goes. I've seen a lot of them smashed up. the skid plating that used to go from here to back there for the original engine. I smashed it into the engine like about the first time I went four-wheeling with it, and then I left it that way.
Oh, this is the engine cradle here.
Yeah. And now,
all right, here comes Mrs. CW. We're in trouble now.
yeah. And so there's another vacuum actuator for the diff lock, which is over. I don't know if it's on your side or my side. It's around here somewhere.
I don't know. Who knows?
It's
We
on
got to
one
get to
side
work.
there, but all they do is mechanically drop little pins into place, you know?
Yeah. So rusted. Well, that was a great explanation. Want to go ride on the Harley? Look at those storm clouds in the distance.
Maybe it'll rain and I won't have to water so much.
I'll show you those storm clouds.
Up off road, so which I don't do too much anymore in honesty. I used to go everywhere.
There's those storm clouds. Make for a nice painting, those storm clouds. All right, put this thing back together. The explanation is, wow, blé frais,
Oh yeah, the cool thing.
uniquement carburant sans plomb, octane indice, octane minimum 91 octane.
The guy who owned it before me went out. Stickers,
Yeah.
got all these original stickers on it. Like,
Cool.
I don't know. I would never do stuff like that, but when you buy it,
Well,
from
here's a
someone who
maniac.
already did it. This one.
Sounds like my husband.
Uh-huh. Got
Sometimes
the gas tank, spare tire, and the high lift jack that's supposed to tilt. I like that modification you made to the strut to hold it open. Piece of tubing.
Actually,
All cars should have that.
Idea of the guy who makes the racks in Canada, Gary Lee.
Yep,
Makes
made in
great
Canada,
Volkswagen
Fabriqué au Canada.
racks. So, and it also keeps it from killing you. So,
How simple could you get?
and the funny thing is that little plastic tube, which is electrical conduit,
Yeah.
is made by the same company that makes this gas tank Scepter, and which also makes all the plastic parts on our docks.
Clunk. All right, demo is over. Thank you. Have a safe ride.